Hi, by TheSuffolkRam for Round Nerds. Welcome to my review of Doctor Who Episode 10 of Series 10, The Eaters of Light. Maybe some minor spoilers ahead, so if anything spoiled, turn off now. So, Eaters of Light takes place in Scotland, in the Roman era of Scotland, during the sort of point when the Romans were over here invading. And the Doctor, Bill and Nadu travel back there, and they just basically are on a jolly to meet the Romans, because Bill claims she knows more about Romans than the Doctor, so they sort of go a bit of jolly to sort of prove her wrong. And they get over there and they just want to find out what happened to the Ninth Legion, why it disappeared mysteriously in the past and what happened to it. And what follows is basically a story of hunting monsters. These monsters were out and loose, and it's killing. It's killing and eating light, as the name of the plot suggests. And it's basically a plot to find out how it got out, what they can do to stop it, and how to get it back. This is an episode that I really enjoyed. The whole sort of setting felt very... Doctor's done Romans quite often. This ain't the first, and seeing Moffat, I think, must have been a Roman thing to direct, although obviously it wasn't written by him. It definitely feels a bit different to what we've had the last few weeks. Rather than sort of like a group of people want to survive, it feels more like they're in a trapped space trying to survive. They feel more like they're being hunted in this big open area and having to, sell their differences to defeat this monster. And the sort of general characterizations, this all has this two plot path forming in it, with Bill meeting up with the Romans, and a Roman who then leads her to her compadres, and having to sort of jerry these guys up. These are sort of survivors of the Ninth Legion, having to sort of ginning them up to help them basically fight the monster. Simultaneously, Dr. Nardil are off meeting up with the... Is it Picts? Yeah, it's Picts in Scotland. I must admit, my history of Roman Britain is not that great, but I think it's the Picts in Scotland. And Nardu's meeting up with the Dr. Nardu, end up meeting up with them. Nardu and Greyshade himself. Some nice little twists, like how the Dr. Nardu initially escaped from the Picts, how he uses a bit of cunning, bit of Macguffin that Nardu introduced, and how he used that to escape. And I thought it was quite clever, and sort of, it wasn't something ridiculously ODT techie. He didn't use something like some magical, thing. He just, or like put a screwdriver to something, made something explode. He just used a basic material to basically clever his way out of the situation, which I kind of liked. The sort of plot arc of these two groups of people meeting up and having to sort of sell the differences in order to get on and defeat the monster worked quite well. The monster itself, I thought, was just right. It wasn't OTT. It was sort of actually, although it was the main driving force, it was not OTT and a bit quiet in the background. I like the concept as well, this beast that goes out there and eats light. I thought that concept was quite interesting and really enjoyable. So I have to say, this episode in general has been a very enjoyable episode. I like the two-part story. It was really, I thought it's quite nice to see it again, and I liked it quite well. On to the characters, so we'll drop through the main characters a bit quickly. Most of the main one, Doctor, Peter Capaldi, Pearl Mackie at her usual spent. Matt Lucas is playing Nardil and getting all the best funny lines in. And again, just right. He's not OTT. He's not taking over too much of the episodes. He's not becoming irritating. He does tend to have the sort of funny moments, but it works really well. And as a character, I really like him. I think he works really well. He's just right in the episode, and he also supplies most of the laugh out loud moments of the episode. The two groups, the Romans and the Picts. I don't say that. I hope I'm right. I thought I felt the characters of them felt quite real. I thought they worked quite. I felt they felt all like sort of normal, real, actual people. I'm interested to know how accurate some of the sort of statements they made about the Romans and so forth were and what their supplies were. I'm pretty sure they're accurate from what I understand that history, but they work quite well so the side characters, I haven't got this next to me, unfortunately, side characters, but they all worked, they all did their job well, they all felt like real people, they felt like real groups of people, and the way they sort of got together and settled their way through the situation and sort of grouped together then to defeat the evil at the end worked very well. So characters. And also Missy does make a brief reappearance episode. That isn't a spoiler. We know she's back in the series now, and she makes her appearance in the episodes now. She's going to do more regularly, and she just steals the scene she's in. She's funny from the moment she appears, and she absolutely steals the scene. So yeah, I like the characters in this episode. I really enjoy this episode. Now, on to production of the episode. So, this episode is written by Rona Munro. Now, I made a slight mistake over Rona Munro. I mistakenly said on one of the discussion podcasts that she was a new writer for Doctor Who, which is not technically true. She's new in the sense that she's new to the new series Doctor Who, but in actual fact, she did actually write a story serial for the previous old series of Who. She switched Sylvester McCoy's episode Survival, which actually was the very last story ever written of the old style Doctor Who, as in TV story, that was actually produced and broadcast of the old style Doctor Who. So that was like it's quite sort of melancholy watching it back when you watch it, knowing that this is the last one. And it's really sad when you see it. I think that's the very last one. Obviously, we've now got new Doctor Who. And I have to say, I really enjoyed her writing style. It actually did feel, I know it's going to sound odd, it felt more of an older story. It felt more of something I'd expect to see in a classic Doctor Who episode. It actually made me think of some classic serials, and it felt more like that. So I really enjoyed her writing style, and I hope we do get some more from her. I really enjoyed it. I have to say the actual locations of the series were beautiful. I saw big Scottish areas. I don't know if they were filming in Scotland, but wherever they were filming, looked beautiful. I mean, I'm sure they probably did, because it's not that far up the road from where they produce. I'm sure they could go to actually Scotland, film in Scotland, but it's not too. It looked beautiful. It looked, the sort of whole vistas, the whole rooms, the cars, everything about it looked absolutely beautiful. Really liked that whole situation. It really worked well. The actual monster effects, apart from the food between you see the whole monster in total, actually worked really well. When you see the monster, early on, where it's just you see it's sort of its tentacles that really, I'm not sure they're part practical, part CGI. They say it looked a bit. If they're CGI, they're really well done. But I wonder if they might be practical effects that have been enhanced with a bit of CGI. But it looked really good, whatever it was. But obviously, unfortunately, when you see it in the wider bits, it's the wider bits when you have a CGI giant monster, when you have them in the wider parts, the bigger open areas, and you see the whole thing moving. That's when it tends to not work so well. That's just part of the course. It's quite normal. But that looked beautiful. But yeah, I have to say, I thought overall it was good, and it was nice, and it's the right balance between humour and pacing and so forth. It was a really well produced, really nicely done story. So overall, I really enjoyed Eaters of Light. I wasn't too keen on last week's episode, but this episode really enjoyed it. I mean, I have to say, so far this season, we're now getting towards the close of the season, and everything about it has been it's been a really good season. I don't think there's actually been a bad episode amongst it. Nothing that I point to say that was shit, just don't bother watching it. I swear there. I don't think I've actually had anything like that through the whole series, to be honest. Even the ones I've not been so keen on, still been quite good, just not so keen on them. So yeah, really, really nice what we've done so far, and I'm really looking forward to next week's, where we see not just the return of the Mondas Cyberman, who I suspected might be in the finale. I'm assuming it's a 2-part finale that we're going to get. But also looks like we're going to get the return of the Master, the John Sims Master, back as well, which is going to be interesting to see how does that both work with him and Missy. We'll see how they've managed to figure that timeline out. And we see basically Missy gets put on a test, as it were, to see what she's like and see if she sort of changed her ways. And it's a case of, has she changed her ways, or is this a manipulative plot? And it makes you wonder if it's going to be an episode where it's either going to end with her taking the Master with her at the end, at the end of the episode, at the end of the two. I'm assuming it's going to be a 2-part, but might not be. But I would suspect it would be the Master and the Bond Simon turning up. If she'll take him with him at the end and sort of sacrifice herself but take him with her, or she'll prove to himself by betraying her, I don't know. But I think it's going to be an interesting 2-part, and it's nice to see some actual really, really old school Doctor Who monsters return. So yeah, really looking forward to those episodes. But yeah, good all round. So if anyone watching over the TheSuffolkRam, I hope you've enjoyed these videos. If you have, please subscribe to the channel. We try and do sort of videos over the course as we do about gaming. We do reviews, I've got a few Let's Plays in the pipeline, which I'm in the process of editing and be uploading soon. We also do a podcast, bi-weekly podcast, depending on bi-weekly means whatever you like. So yeah, I have to say thank you very much for watching. I've been TheSuffolkRam. I look forward to seeing you on the next review next week. So until then, see you later.